Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk all about Tier 2 Psylocke. And I know that this fight against Cull Obsidian with Magneto isn't Psylocke, but I'm doing this as a comparison piece, and this is going to be the first part of a multi-part test here to show you guys just how insanely strong she is. And while I don't want to ignite a debate on whether, you know, Psylocke is better than Magneto, whether the Magneto pack is better than the Psylocke pack for the Deadpool Epic Quest versus the X-Men Epic Quest, I do actually want to prove that Psylocke is better than Magneto, but that's about all. And for those of you that are going to use these two characters as a barometer for whether you get one deluxe pack over another, I thought this would be a really great way to just straight up show you the strength of both characters. And while you may think that it's unfair for Psylocke, given that maybe some of Magneto's attacks have physical damage and Cull Obsidian has really high physical defense, once you see their builds at the end, you'll understand why it's extremely fair. And I just need to not die here. That would be great. And we're just playing until Cull Obsidian hits his first stage change, which should be happening right now. So yeah, that took about 1 minute and 10 seconds, so we're going to call that 70 seconds. So 70 seconds for Stage 5 Magneto. No strikers to augment his damage. No strikers from the two characters, Wasp and Singularity. We're using a simple 30% energy bonus, which applies to both characters evenly. It doesn't favor either of them. And then Wasp is just there for the Tier 2 passive to ensure I don't get stunned or, you know, debuffed in some way, which would negatively affect the damage numbers. So my Psylocke has to beat 70 seconds. And as you'll see, it's not even close. And this doesn't even take into consideration, this is just a raw damage DPS check for the two characters. Of course, certain characters have different strengths and weaknesses as far as their different abilities go. This is the rotation I like to go through with Psylocke 5-3-4, but, you know, 5-3-4 and 2 all do really good damage, so you could definitely skip 3-4-2. 2 has a debuff. 3 has this cool lingering shuriken, which I really like. But there we go. We're 20 seconds in, about 25 seconds in, and we're way past the buffer stage already. He was supposed to go into his second phase at, I think, 9 bars, times 9 or times 8. He obviously wasn't able to do so because I kept mind controlling him. But we basically hit that, you know, at the 15-second mark, something like that. So it's not even close. We're talking insanely different damage numbers for the two characters. And I know that might seem super exaggerated for you. Wow, Cynicalex, 15 seconds versus 70 seconds. I'm not really kidding. It's actually that insane. I think she probably has triple, if not quadruple, the damage that Magneto does, possibly more than that. And in order to really let that sink in for you guys, I now want to cover their builds really quickly, obviously focusing more on Psylocke here, but my Magneto is no pushover. Rank 1500, he's got full 4-star Uru for energy attack and crit damage, so he is stacked there. Most of his skills are level 6, couple level 3s. He's got a Power of Angry Hulk stage 5 bonus, and then he's got a CTP of Destruction. I did not skip for the mags, so he is definitely rocking a very powerful offensive build. Now take a look at my Psylocke, and you'll be surprised. Rank 1500 as well, still a pretty decent rank, but she's, you know, a little bit less stacked in the Uru department. She's missing Uru, essentially, but she does have the 4-star crit damage and energy attack. Most of her skills are level 6 or 3. You really only have to level up the 3rd skill for the Reflect immunity and the 6th skill for the dodge rate / mind damage. The other ones you can just level up if you want more DPS, and then the 2nd skill has the resistance, but it doesn't apply to world bosses, so it's not that important. She also has Power of Angry Hulk, stage 6 instead of stage 5, so slightly better there. And she's actually rocking a double mind damage invincibility obelisk. So yeah, she quadrupled Magneto's damage without a damage proc. So I probably could have one-shotted a Cull Obsidian with a damage proc and a better leadership. That's kind of the potential we're looking at here for this character. Not even going to mention the fact that she has the potential to get to level 70. She has the potential to get to gear 25. honestly, she completely obliterates and eclipses Magneto. So on the basis of the characters exclusively and solely, not thinking about either Epic Quest results, Strife, Gene, whatever, Psylocke wins by a country mile. The only advantage that Magneto gives you is that he's a villain rather than a hero, and he has a leadership that can buff other characters, namely the X-Men, and he does have a lot of annoying iframes, which is good for things like Conquest. But, you know, Psylocke has iframes too. She's got the longest iframe I've ever seen on her 5th skill, and it also has mind control at the end. So after about 4 seconds of an iframe, she slaps you with another 5 seconds of mind control. That's like 10 seconds where you basically just stand there, or in that case, Cull Obsidian just stood there, you know, absorbing a bunch of damage. She also has immunity to Dominance of Spirit, which, for those of you that aren't sure, is the mind control effect. So she can't be mind controlled by Scarlet Witch, can't be charmed by Luna Snow or Enchantress. She has the same powers that that MODOK has, which is pretty cool. And she also has some mind resistance for herself. Very, very powerful character. And I think what we're starting to notice now with some of these characters coming out is the real true potential of high damage characters that have elemental damage. We've seen it with Thor, we've seen it with Scarlet Witch, and now we're seeing it again with Psylocke. When characters get very powerful skill damage numbers, and they also have the elemental tags, it compounds itself, and you slap on a leadership like Ancient One with the additional Tier 2 Ancient One with the additional 25% elemental damage, or if you're lucky you have a fire damage or something like that kind of leadership for a Gene, and the numbers just scale tremendously. She's already giving herself 70% mind damage just by standing around, because she has 35% on her 5th skill, and then an additional 35% when you activate her 5th skill. So right now, for me, she has 71%. Once she gets into a fight and she hits the 5th skill, she jumps up to 140% mind damage. So it's pretty bananas, and you can get up to 165 with Ancient One. You could probably get closer to 200% mind damage with the right strikers. So now we're going to do a second test here, just going to stretch the limits of Psylocke. We're going to be going up against Ebony Maw, where she's of course favored, but again, we're talking about a double mind damage, 3-second invincibility proc Obelisk, a few 4-star Urus, and a level 6, a stage 6 Power of Angry Hulk ISO 8 set. By no means are we doing some kind of crazy build here that you can't achieve. I do have nice cards, but most of the build is very attainable. We're going to go with Ancient One's leadership here. This is 45% increased energy attack, plus 25% ignore dodge, plus 25% elemental damage, which applies to her mind damage. We're just going to keep... Actually, no, we're going to switch out Wasp for Ebony Maw. I think this was the test that I did. We're going to switch him out for Ebony Maw for the additional damage against Universals. And then we're going to use strikers that will buff her damage without dealing damage. So because all these guys deal, 90% of their damage as physical, they're not going to deal any damage to Ebony Maw, so you don't have to worry about them interrupting for tons of damage. Probably the highest damage one there is my Cap Tier 3, but I'm rocking the Fem Cap uniform, so the damage is paltry. And you'll see just how crazy Psylocke's damage is. But I was talking about this before with Cull Obsidian. As soon as I see the mind control symbol above Ebony Maw's head, I switch into the 3rd skill. The mind control symbol is that purple puppet symbol that you see above his health bar next to his self buff. So you got to look up at the top here. It's going to pop up right there. Dominance of Spirit. And then you do 3 into 4, back into 5. There's always a gap between the end of the mind control and when you can drop it down again, so you will eventually lose the mind control. It's not like Scarlet Witch where he stays mind controlled forever. As soon as he goes into this phase, you will eventually lose the mind control unless you have Scarlet Witch also mind controlling him. So just be aware that it's not as kind of foolproof as Scarlet Witch is. You will eventually have to kind of pause. But you can see there, because it's a continuous iframe on her 5th skill, it's really amazing. Even though Ebony Maw iframes in between, when he comes back up, boom, he's mind controlled again. So it's amazing, the tracking on this skill, the persistence on this skill, the fact that the skill doesn't get interrupted. She doesn't stop her 5th skill butterfly kind of pink explosion of damage just because Ebony Maw took a little 2 or 3 second pause over to the sauna of iframes. It's really impressive. They pulled out all the stops to ensure that Psylocke was going to be an absolute banger. And you can see she's completely shredding him at tier 2, you know, with pretty average build as far as I'm concerned. And she can go way higher. You know, you got people on Reddit rocking stage 39, really pushing her to the limit. And it's really nice to see how far she can go, and that she's... Oh, I might die here. I actually did die. Wow, that's really unfortunate. There are certain situations where that is going to happen to you just out of sheer dumb bad luck. But otherwise, you should either be able to switch in time, or you should be able to get out of the way. The problem with that situation, what happened there, was her 5th skill doesn't cancel if Ebony is iframing, as you've seen already that I was kind of gushing about, which is good and bad. It's good 90% of the time. It's bad in the 10% of the time when he, you know, is not iframing to do the scratch attack, but he's iframing to do the meteor. But that was 2 minutes in, and I was already at about 8 bars. There's no doubt I was going to crush that stage 32 with no proc. I could probably go up to 33 or 34 and still be able to clear that without a damage proc. And then who knows, I could probably go into the 40s or the 50s with a proc, which is insane. As far as an ideal build for her, because she doesn't have many self buffs, including anything for attack speed, I do think Power of Angry Hulk is by far the best build for her. So I would definitely stress this one over something like Overdrive. Hopefully you don't roll it ahead of time, because it hurts to roll away from Overdrive. You do like attack speed on her because she has long animations and you want to get through them faster, so you can crank out more. She has so much damage packed into each skill that you want to be able to do all of them in one rotation before the mind control is over. I find that her 2nd skill has very good damage. Her 3rd skill also has good damage, although it does have kind of an awkward iframe where she jumps away, which kind of disengages you, and you do have to force the joystick forward to get her to go back in range to do 4 or 5. But 5 has insane range. Even if you don't think you're close to the enemy and all of the butterflies are over here and the enemy's here, it's still hitting them somehow. I don't know. The actual visual effects don't illustrate the actual AoE of her skill, which is massive, kind of like Scarlet's 4th skill, where it's just a small little red pulsation, but it's actually hitting almost the entire arena. As far as an obelisk goes, I think you can just go kind of, you know, caution to the wind, double mind damage, damage proc, hopefully 200% if you're super lucky. If you wanted to give her guard break immunity, you could, and that is, of course, the preferred stat for a PvP build, but I think she just melts face so hard in PvE that you want to take advantage of that. Of course, for CTPs, I could definitely recommend a CTP of Destruction to buff her penetration even further, and to also give her penetration when she's using other skills, especially in something like Timeline or Alliance Tournament if she doesn't open with her 5th skill. You could also go for a CTP of Authority, which gives you the guard break and gives you some additional defenses with the invincibility. And I guess you could go for CTP of Energy because of all the chain hit, because her hits have, or her skills have so many hits. So there's a lot of different ways you can build this character. I definitely think I'm just going to have fun with Psylocke and go pure damage and pure kind of PvE content to just shred Ebony pretty much 24/7. But let me know what you guys think for Psylocke. Are you going to go pure damage, or are you going to try something a little bit more defensively? Maybe give her some dodge Uru to augment the dodge stat that she buffs with her 5th skill when she does it for, what is that, 25% dodge? Are you going to go somewhere in the middle where you give her some guard break, give her some damage proc, and try to balance it out? Or do you have another build altogether in mind? Let me know down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of this beastly character, this powerhouse X-Men. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.